would have them draw like a happy face, one of those yellow happy faces with big smiling, a big smile on it, because when you're traveling, the goal is either like relaxation or you're gonna have fun. Um, it's not sad faces or rain or clouds. You're going for an experience, something that's gonna either restore you or something fun. So I don't think that anybody looking to go on vacation is looking, to be sad and not have fun. So I would say that I would have them draw a happy face because that's what we deliver. We deliver a good time.
What's up, world? If you've ever wondered, what does my friend actually do at work? You'll love Take Your Homeboy to Workday podcast. I am your host, BA, and here's what you can expect by tuning in. Each episode, I'll invite a guest to share their career journey from a youth in school to their rise as a professional. We'll learn the nuts and bolts of jobs, and you'll learn how what they do shows up in our everyday lives. I'll have them open up about how they find fulfillment through their work. So for anyone interested in hearing the first-hand experience of a specific career, these conversations are your launching pad. Today, we'll hear about the life of travel agents. And I imagine at some point in all of our lives, we have tried to plan a group trip. And after researching locations, places to stay, and entertainment to see, to ad nauseum, you probably wished you never volunteered to leave. And I still haven't even mentioned collecting money and paying for deposits. Well, if you are looking for peace of mind from a passionate person that wants you to cherish those memories of the trip and not be exhausted from the execution, then travel agents are your savior. They truly have made an evolution in what they deliver. Long gone are the days of booking you a flight and handing you a pamphlet. Now they provide a white glove service that includes excursions, cuisine suggestions, and everything in between. Today's guest is Stephanie Kilson-Thomas with KT Travel and More at kttravelandmore.com. Stephanie has built a thriving travel agency leveraging her skills in brand development, sales execution, and customer service. She embeds her life philosophies of integrity, honesty, and respect into her business, which has given her a foundation to succeed as a female entrepreneur. And the cherry on the top is that she is a published writer. It's only the second quarter for what she will accomplish, and I'm excited to learn from her. Welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you for that awesome introduction, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome and very well deserved. So I gave a high level overview of what I think travel agency is, but in your own terms, can you share a little bit more about what it's like being a travel agent?
Well, I'll start by saying you did a really good job. If you could see me, I'm just beaming like, wow, that was really good and really spot on. But what I would say, nowadays, travel agents, we're not just agents anymore. We're more travel consultants, travel
Okay.
curators. We build an experience for groups, for individuals, for couples that
Hmm.
are looking to, as you mentioned, no longer have to deal with the collecting of fees or doing all the research. We nowadays we put together these curated experiences, customized experience for those looking to travel who don't want to have to be bothered with doing all of the legwork behind it. They just want to pack up and show up and have a good time.
Gotcha. Love the phrase travel curator. I'll be sure to make that the title for the actual posting. So what drew you to this type of work? Was there someone specific who introduced you or a specific life experience? How did you get involved with this?
Yes, so actually, I was introduced to being a travel agent by a high school classmate of mine who is a travel agent. She reached out to me one day back in 2017, and she was like, "Hey, I think you should be a travel agent. I think you'd be real good at it." And I was like, "No, I don't think so." I really wasn't, at first, I wasn't too sold on the idea, but as I started, thinking about it, and she was like, well, you travel a lot, you could book your own trips and get paid for it. And, me, was in pharmaceutical sales for 10 years and always had something on the side. And I was like, well, you know what? Why not? I think,
Mhm,
it's something I can do on the side. And, started to develop a real passion for it. Once I,
mhm,
started, putting myself out there and letting people know what I was doing, booking my first couple of trips, it ended up, being something that I looked at and I said, I can do this full time, give me about, 5 to 7 years and that'll be me full
mhm,
time and, working for myself, so that's where I got my start in being a travel agent. And then, you know, I got into it full time a lot sooner than I anticipated after losing my job, right at the start of COVID.
mhm. Gotcha. Yeah, that was a big, that was a pivotal point for a lot of people in our lives with the pandemic. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you were able to make that pivot to something productive and passionate that you had already been thinking about. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Uh, you brought up that high school friend who introduced you to it. Have you talked to her lately, and has she seen how you flourished as a travel agent lately?
Yes. So actually, I talked to her. I mean, like we don't like have conversations and things like that. Um,
Right.
but we talk quite often whenever I have someone that reaches out to me because I do specialize in destination weddings and international travel. So I don't book cruises and I don't do domestic travel. So she's a cruise guru. So whenever, somebody reaches
Uh,
out to me about planning a cruise, I send them her way.
gotcha. So there's even specialists within this field also then, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Ah,
People, you can get yourself burned out, trying to do everything. And that's,
mhm,
with anything in life, you find something that you specialize in and really hone in on your skills and watch yourself flourish that way. That definitely makes life a lot easier. Just trying to do everything, in travel, there's just so many different niches. In the travel industry, to try to do everything, would completely burn you out and make you not want to do it anymore. You lose the passion for it. So,
yeah,
drilling down and finding a niche and, working in that and flourishing, helps to make travel agents successful in what they do.
gotcha. And how did you know? So I know you focus on wedding destinations, honeymoons, girls trips. How did you know you wanted those to be your niches?
So, when looking at being a travel agent and doing it full time, any travel agent will tell you the best thing to do is focusing on groups. So, group travel is, helps a lot with making a little bit more money, because, booking a
Yeah.
trip here and there, it's good. I was just telling a client before we got on this call, a potential client, booking one trip here, one trip there, that's enough, to pay a credit card bill, and buy a cup of coffee. But when you specialize in group trips, the more rooms you book, the more you make. So, focusing on like destination weddings, where you're probably going to book, upwards to 20 plus rooms, or bachelorette trips, where it's like a group of like, nowadays that bachelorette trips or bachelor trips are not, our mom and dad's bachelor parties. Um,
Right.
so, you're booking upwards to like 4 to 5 rooms, so you're able to make more money, in that way. So for those of us who do this full time, you spend a lot more time booking group travel. For me personally, when it came to destination weddings, I'm a sucker for romance. I love love, and my company's my company's slogan is "Celebrate Love Through Travel." So I was able to take something that I was passionate about and tie it in with travel. So focusing on those things around romance travel, couples trips, destination weddings, honeymoons, anniversaries, bachelorette trips.
Gotcha. Makes sense then. Makes sense. Well, thank you for sharing that a little bit about how you made that early decision and what type of travel agency and explain a little bit more about it. Thank you very much. One of the
You're welcome.
early questions, one of the first questions I love to ask is about money, just so people can be realistic about, what they can earn if they start going down a certain path with a career. So those first years, couple of years when you first got into being a travel agent, and you don't have to share your certain experience. You can give a range if you feel more comfortable. But could you share how much could somebody expect to make if they decide to go into it? And I guess you can answer this in two ways, since I know you said you started off doing this part time. So I guess if you could share, if somebody just
Hmm.
wanted to commit 10 hours, gosh, I don't know, 10 hours a week or maybe 20 hours a month versus being full time like yourself, where you're dedicating 60 hours probably a week, how much can you make given those two differences, part time and full time?
Okay, so I would say, looking back at 2018 when I started, I launched my agency in March of 2018. So from March to December, I think I made $400. I didn't even
Whoa.
make enough to do like a 1040.
Right, right.
No, I was making that, credit card payment money, pay a bill here, throw a little something here, went to a nice dinner with my husband, look, making that nice little change. But 2019, I was still part time. 2019, working full time as a pharmaceutical sales rep. Um, I would say like that year, I remember I made probably about $5,000, $5,500, in that full year. And so
Mhm,
that's, of course, when I started learning, like, okay, groups. I did like my first birthday trip, which was like 8 rooms. Um, eight couples, for a 40th birthday. That's when I started realizing, oh, that's the working smarter, not harder, trying to,
mhm,
grab
mhm,
somebody here and there, to do a trip. That's when I started realizing, okay, you can start making a little bit more money doing groups. Um, 2020, of course, 2020, I didn't make a dollar. I felt like, all my money was made
right.
before March of 2020. Um, but I would say this: if you if you're doing it part time, just depending on how hard you go with your business, I can say you can easily make a nice, $5,000 to $20,000 a year, being a travel agent. Um,
Mhm,
of course, that's considering too how much you put into it as far as like your advertising, your marketing, who are you marketing to, who are your clients, what types of trips are you doing, are you doing luxury trips, are you doing weddings, are you doing church groups,
mhm,
mission trips, things like that. um, just depending on the niche you're in and how many of those trips you're booking, you think you can make a nice, 20K part time. Now, full time, of course, if this is all that you're doing, not only are you making money, on commission, but travel agents, nowadays we charge for our services. So I would say, to goodness, you can make. I would say, let me get the calculator because I think this is a
that
really good
much?
question.
That
That
much?
much,
Okay.
just say like let's say you can make about $33,000 a year just on planning fees alone. That's all the work you do to curate and get them, the trip that they want, or the wedding that they're looking to have. So, and then just think about and I just did that calculation at a $1,500 planning fee for a destination wedding at 22 weddings, 33,000 just on planning fees, and then you've got the commission from 22 weddings. You can definitely make six figures as a travel agent,
Wow.
hands down.
That's very appealing. Wow, wow. Okay. So let's some of your early years as and I'm glad you brought up marketing because that actually we didn't talk about this before, but I would love to just learn how you developed your marketing during those first years or even as you started to focus on it full time. How did you develop your brand? How did you know that you want your brand to be about respecting people and integrity? I guess why did you focus on those values? And then also, what marketing did you do? Did you do internet marketing? Was it mostly word of mouth? Did you buy ads? I guess could you share a little bit more about how you developed your brand and then some of the actual things you may have put money into or time into to market the brand?
Sure. So for me personally, integrity, trust and honesty, those are my core values. And
Hmm.
I think that's something that's very important. So anything that's going to be a reflection of me has to, you know, my business is going to have to, be one of integrity, um, you know, show value, trust and honesty in everything I do because that's Stephanie, and the KT and KT Travel and More is Kilson-Thomas, so that's my name, you know.
Hmm.
So that's
Right.
that's me, and so on the business front and on the personal front, everything that my clients experience, they don't know me from a lot of them don't know me,
Hmm.
so I think it's very important that my business reflects who I am as a person, so acting with integrity, valuing, people over profit, um, things like that are the core values of myself. And that's what I want people to see and recognize and experience when they choose to work with me. And so those are the things that I put forth in my marketing, and branding myself and my business. When it comes to the avenues that I use, for marketing, honestly, social media has been my best friend. Um,
Hmm.
Facebook, Instagram. I'm starting to get into TikTok. I'm still not there where I'm making, like the videos and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Um, but like when I travel and I'm, featuring a resort, or meeting with the wedding coordinator or wedding planner, wedding manager on property, showcasing the property and, different wedding locations. I'm able to put all that stuff on social media, and that's how I gain, um, a lot of my customers. So I say like majority of my clients come from Facebook, um, and then Instagram. I partner, as you mentioned, I'm a published writer. I work and write for, and I don't work for them, but I write for Black Bride magazine,
Hmm. Yep.
which also helps gain more clients, because I'm what they call the bridal suite member. So they repost some of my stuff on social media, in their stories or on their feed, their timeline. They'll post, some repost some of my stuff, feature some of my wedding couples, and see that, hey, travel agents are out here making it happen. We're just as important as your wedding planner. Um,
Hmm.
and then like Google, and then one of the biggest things that's near and dear to my heart is word of mouth from previous clients. So those are the ways that I'm able to market and get my name out there, and keep bringing in new clients.
Awesome. Awesome. Very impressive, and thank you for sharing. So, another thing I was thinking about that just popped into my head. We've talked about the travel agent relationship with the client, but I'd love to learn about what's your relationship like with the venue that you send your clients to. Is there a specific person you work with, or how does that partnership come together?
So when it comes to the weddings, I build a relationship with. And when it comes to to actual the resort, with of course the wedding manager, or the wedding coordinator. As a travel agent, you wouldn't think that we would have relationships with those individuals at the resort. But because I
Hmm.
specialize in destination weddings, that's very important for me because I like for them to put a face to the name. So when I get to travel, I set up time to meet with the different wedding planners and coordinators at the resort so they can put a face to the name, and I can do the same as well and build that relationship so that my clients have a good experience. Because I propose, just depending on when I do a consultation and I'm talking to a couple about, what their wants and needs are for their destination wedding, I'm thinking of resorts that would be a good fit for them, you know,
Hmm.
based on where they want to get married, what type of aesthetic they're looking for in the resort, what type of feel they want for their wedding. Though I'm not a wedding planner, I know I can say, I can reach out to Sandra at Garza Blanca Cancun. She'll take good care of you. Or I can reach out to Maria at Majestic Elegance Costa Mujeres. She's going to take good care of you. Those relationships are super important, and it adds value to me as the travel agent who this couple is trusting to provide a real good a really good resort, a good experience, some knowing that, I'm working with somebody and I trust and I have this good relationship with this resort and I know they're going to take good care of them. That makes couples feel comfortable and confident in the decisions that they're making for their weddings. Um, when you look at things like honeymoons and like bachelorette trips, a lot of it is, social media or talking to other travel agents. I have a really good network of travel agents that I communicate with. You got to have, iron sharpens iron. You got to have good people, that you can reach out to that can assist you, because I can't do this all by myself because I don't know everything. But I
Hmm.
have that community where I can say, hey, I've got a bachelorette trip, a bachelorette group of 15 young women. This is what they're looking for, but I can't really put my finger on it. What do y'all suggest? Then I'm getting, a flood of different resort options that I can then present to them and, confidently say, hey, I haven't been here before and I haven't seen anybody here before, but I had another travel agent that, highly recommended this place for you. So, having those resources helps. And then also to establishing those relationships like with the wedding managers, coordinators, um, planners on property definitely helps to make the experience, a great experience for my clients.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, since you've been doing this, what has been your proudest achievement?
My proudest achievement, um, I would say really just just doing it. So I'll say like
Yeah.
2020 was a really hard year.
Hmm.
Like losing my job and then, COVID and, staying in place and you can't do this and you can't do that. You know, as I mentioned earlier, like being doing this full time was like a 5 to 7 year, goal of mine. I didn't expect to, do this, full time, 2 years later. Um,
Hmm.
and in that time when I lost my job, I was looking, and I can't tell you how many places I applied to, how many interviews I did. Um, but something was telling me this is your time to prepare, your business for what's to come.
Hmm.
Nobody ever thinks, of starting or going full time into a travel agency, during a global pandemic. Ain't nobody traveling. Nobody's
Right.
going anywhere, you know? Um, so I think, what was my proudest moment was looking in the future and not being focusing on where I was in that moment, and knowing that God's got me. He made you say yes to this opportunity in 2018, 2 whole years ago, because he knew that this was going to be your time, and he had to do
Right.
what you needed to do to prepare you for it. So
Hmm.
instead of sulking, in 2020 and crying over not being hired by this company and that company, I used that time to build myself and build my business to where I am today. And it's still a growing process, still
Hmm.
continuing to build. But if I have to say, if I had a proudest moment, that would definitely be it.
Gotcha. Wow. Well, thank you for that message of preparing yourself and trusting your gut. And then salute to you for actually putting the work in and not sulking and believing in yourself.
Thank you.
So, and one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on the show is because you even mentioned earlier that travel agents aren't your parents, or no, you had said bachelor and bachelorette parties aren't our parents' parties anymore. And I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking that, there's still an antiquated thinking about what a travel agent is from TV shows in the 90s and the 80s versus what it is now in the 2020s. So could you share
Mm-hmm.
what is the biggest difference or misnomer or what has changed the most between what people see on TV, what a travel agent did in the 90s versus what you all do now?
Okay, so like from what I can envision, as when my classmate reached out to me about being a travel agent, it was simply just like almost like just taking orders and hey, this is what I want. Can you do this for me? No, you can't. Okay, I'm gonna go on to somebody else. Or hey, book this flight. That was like a lot of what I got in the beginning. Like, hey, can you book this flight for me? And I had to, as I got into the industry and started really working, I'm like, no, I won't just book a flight for you because that's not all a travel agent is. So
Yeah.
people, just looked at travel agents as, help me get here. This is,
Mhm.
I just need to get there and that's it. And travel agents do so much more than that. And I
Mhm.
think that now we're working towards getting people to shift their focus, shift their minds or disrupt their thoughts on what a travel agent, actually is. So we're not just booking flights, and booking hotels, we're, as I said earlier, we're travel curators. We're putting together custom proposals for you, putting together custom options, based on the things that you share with us during a consultation. I don't think, in the past, travel agents might not have been doing consultations. It's just like, hey, you said you want this, then this is what I'm going to give you, no questions asked. Now we're, doing more of a consultative selling approach, truly understanding what it is that the client is looking for and, and putting together, an itinerary or custom proposal that's going to be based on the things that they truly want and need for their trip. So it's not just a book a flight anymore. It's put together an experience for me.
Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's exactly why I wanted you to come on to dispel or to just present the new benefits of what a travel agent can provide to people. So thank you. So
Yes, you're
now with the
welcome.
next question, I want you to think abstract, okay? So
Hmm.
imagine you have a painter standing next to you and they want to draw what you do. They want to commemorate what you do into a visual representation, a picture. What would you tell that artist to describe, or how would you describe what being a travel agent is like?
Mm, I would describe it as, that's a good question, Brandon. Gosh.
Mm.
Okay. Here's what I would have them draw like a happy face. One of those
Okay. Hmm.
yellow happy faces with, big
Hmm.
smiling, a big smile on it because
Hmm.
when you're traveling, the goal is, either like relaxation or you're gonna have fun. Um, it's not, sad faces or rain or clouds. You're going for an experience, something that's gonna, either restore you or something fun. So
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't think that anybody looking to go on vacation is looking, to be sad and not have fun. So I would say that I would have them draw a happy face because that's what we deliver. We deliver a good time. At least that's our goal, to deliver a good time, a great
Hmm.
experience. It should be, clients should have a smile from beginning to end. So
Hmm.
if I had to have them depict what that would look like for me, it would be a smiley face. Now, yeah, I would say that because our goal is to make people happy. you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what we do. That's exactly what we do. You know, we make people happy.
yeah. I love that you used the word restore too. That brought a good what's the right word I'm thinking of now? But I just love that. I love that action verb restore, like refilling your tank, and that you are a key part.
Yes,
Like you're gonna always be a part of people's memories because of what you're able to provide them. So that's awesome.
absolutely, absolutely. And you want to
So
be a
I
good part of
wanna
their memories.
right. Because otherwise, it can go all the way left, and then they're roasting you the whole time on social
Mm,
media, and that
oh
yeah.
yeah.
So So now I want to switch things a bit because we've talked a lot about the good of what you do and a lot of positive experiences that you've had. But as with anything, there can be a bad or ugly side or some watch outs. So if somebody was thinking about jumping full time into being a travel agent, what is a watch out that you would give them, or maybe a bad experience that you had early on that you would just prepare them for? Just yeah, what's a watch out that you would give somebody?
Well, I would say that a person wanting to be a travel agent and doing this full time is that you have to remember, and this probably was a slight tough one for me, is that you have to remember that you're in customer service, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
your goal, somebody's hiring you, or you're tasked to complete something, in a timely manner for somebody, and you do have to. It is customer service, and in a lot of instances, yes, the customer is always right, and you have to just smile through some of the tough parts of it, take everything as a learning lesson, um, because you're not always going to be right. And even though when you're right, you know, you still want that customer to give you a good review,
Yeah.
still refer you to somebody, to a friend or, family, or, comment on your post that, they did a great job. You still have to remember that you're in customer service. So I do think that that's probably one of the things that could break somebody in this industry. Um, you know, I had a bride who reached out to me. Like, I did a consultation with her last year, and then she reached back out to me several times and was like, "Man, I should have hired you. Man, I should have hired you." And
That's a great compliment.
I and right. And this is without hiring me. I wish I would have hired you. And so we ended up talking this year, and she told me how she didn't want to pay my fee, so she didn't want to hire me. But she knew she should have. She ended up hiring like her sister's best friend, who was like, "Oh, I'll do it for free." And it was the
Mm,
worst experience ever. Like, her sister and the friend are no longer speaking. She's no longer speaking, to that travel agent. And it's like she was
mm.
like, the travel agent cussed her out, and all these different things, and told her all this about herself. And it's like, she had a very bad experience. She's like, I'd never
Mhm.
ever ever refer anybody to her. And sometimes, like, you just have to remember, like, it's not about you, it's about the business. Do you
Yeah,
want to live to see another day in this industry? Because social media, like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google, people will let you know. Well, they'll let others know. Beware. We see it with big companies. We see it with
yeah,
small businesses. Like, you have to be ready to always deliver a high level of customer service, because it could definitely be either the benefit or detriment to your business.
yeah. Wow. Well, that is a very unfortunate experience by that bride. Yeah, and
Yeah.
anytime you try to go cheap with something, you're going to get burned. So it pays just to pay. It pays just to pay. So hopefully she learned her lesson, and moving forward in her marriage and her life, she'll just know that making that financial investment will ultimately lead to a better result for her in the end.
Right, 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 right.
Have you ever had a wild experience with a customer, or like what's been What's been like that woof moment? Like, I did not expect this happened to me being a travel agent, but that was kind of a crazy experience. Anything like that ever happened?
Oh, absolutely. And so I hope your listeners, I'm going to tell you now, listeners, put your seatbelts on because you're about to go for a ride.
Yeah.
You're going to go for a ride. So, around this time last year, I was actually hired by a bride for her wedding that was supposed to take place what was it supposed to be, July 2nd or July 3rd of this year. And, sometimes like, you have that gut feeling or your intuition, and my advice is, don't be afraid to follow it, right? Because excuse me, it was just something about this bride when we first started that I knew something wasn't right. So like, so it was a little further on in 2020 when it was like closer to Christmas time, and I was pregnant. I was about 7 months pregnant during the holidays, so I took 2 weeks off. And when she hired me, like right after Thanksgiving, like I let her know, like, hey, we're going to be out, these last 2 weeks of the year. So anything that we don't get done before, we're going to get done at the beginning of the year. Well, during the break, she was calling me and emailing me and sending me text messages about her wedding website and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, well, my website designer is out. We will resume, in January. And it's just she just was just like back and forth and back and forth. And then the resort she chose was a resort that I did not recommend, but her wedding planner recommended the resort. And I told her, no, this is your wedding. Here's my advice on this resort. But ultimately, you hired me to do a job. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion, but
Mhm.
ultimately it's your decision. She decided to move forward with that resort. It was terrible. We had to change resorts in the middle of booking, and like with a wedding with room blocks, like you have to sign a contract,
Mhm.
and you're subject to different cancellation terms. You're subject to you know yeah, different cancellation terms other than you're just booking a trip. Sometimes you can cancel the night within 24 hours. You can't do that with a room block contract. You have, payment deadlines that are required um, that you don't have when you're just booking a room on your own. So, unfortunately, we had to change resorts in the middle
Hate
of booking. And then she was upset because they still had the same payment deadline. Well, I'm like, well, you're not pushing your wedding back, or making it farther to change the dates. The payments are still they'll do at the same time they're due. Well,
Mhm.
this fast forward, this was Memorial Day weekend. I get an email from the bride, and she's like, unfortunately, I just found out that my father passed away, and
Mhm.
we have decided to postpone our wedding. She gave me a date. We're thinking like we're going to postpone it to August 2nd. I just can't think about planning a wedding right now with my dad, recently passing away. And for me, having lost my dad in 2015 before I got married, like immediately, like my heart went out to her. So, I'm making
Mhm.
calls, I'm sending emails, trying to get everything done, you know, but this her father unfortunately passed when they were in penalty, like 100% penalty for cancellations. So, like I'm trying to advise her guests, who didn't have travel protection, like if you can't rebook your room for the new dates, unfortunately you're going to lose your money. You chose not to add travel protection, and you can't travel on the new dates. There's it's out of my hands. She signed a contract. Oh, it was a big mess, Brandon, big mess.
Yeah.
So that fast forward, this was maybe like maybe 3 4 weeks later, as I'm still trying to work on getting everything done with the new contract and everything. um One of her cousins, like she's calling me, and no lie, she called me like 6 times in 1 minute.
Well,
And so at this, like I was on a call, I'm doing a training, and and I'm just like, I've had it. Okay, what's going on? So I call her, she's yelling at me, and I'm yelling back at her, and I'm like, at this point, I know I said customer service, but the customer service, like, it like went out the window, right? Because she
right,
called
right.
6 times in 1 minute. So we hang up, right? And then she sends me a text message, and she's like, and you're a liar, saying that her dad died and that's why she postponed her wedding when her dad died 10 years ago. I, I, I picked up that phone. I said, excuse me, what did you just say?
Wait, what? Right, what? Wait, what? But the woman was
And
claiming like
so,
that her father had just died that year?
yes, yes. So the cousin, now the cousin's my best friend, right? Now she's my best friend because now she's finding out that the girl, that she lied to me.
Yeah.
So like she sends me like a Instagram post that she shared, saying how I can't believe it's 10 years. This was Father's Day, how she can't believe it's been 10 years and all this
What?
stuff. And I'm like, wow, she really played me. She
Yeah.
really played me.
Well,
Man, I
damn.
mean, and it,
That's
it,
how
it
you bring
gets
some
worse
bad
from there,
juju
but
in
I'm
your
going to
life.
stop there. I know.
That's how
I
you get bad juju in
know.
your life by using that. That is jaw
Man,
dropping. That somebody would use that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Whoa.
like I had my feelings, because like like she had another cousin who needed to go to Jamaica because they're Jamaican, and like they needed to go at that time. And luckily I was able to get the resort to agree to let them keep their reservation, but everybody else had to face penalties. And then like the hotel was nice, even though I told them that she lied because I had to remove myself from her because I could no longer be aligned and work with her. I had to remove
Hmm.
myself, and I notified the hotel, that she lied and things of that nature. They still were
Hmm.
very gracious and reduced the penalty to just a 1 night penalty instead of the full 3 or 4 nights based on what how the rooms were booked.
Yeah.
This girl had everybody file chargebacks on their credit cards.
As if they were false. Wow. Wow. She really.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, I
Ooh.
mean, and it still gets worse from there. So I just I had to. I mean, I lost a lot in that. Um, because of her lies and her behavior. But for that. My word for 2022 is discernment. Like, if it's not sitting well with me in the consultation, I have to respectfully, pass you on to somebody else because I can't
Yeah.
do it. I pray to God I
Yeah.
never have an experience like that again.
The relationship is it's a two-way street. It's not just them with the power as the customer. You also, as the agent, have to want to work with them also and have a sense of trust. So totally understand,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that also applies to like that watch out. If somebody decides to go into this, be discerning with who you decide to take on as a potential client or customer. Ask questions, get to know them more than just
Mm-hmm.
surface level, so that you can protect yourself in a way. I guess because you said you lost a lot also, so you need to be protecting yourself as well. So thank you for sharing that story and that message. I intend for that to be a learning opportunity for people who are listening and considering it. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're
So,
welcome. You're welcome.
so we are coming to the end of the show, which I have thoroughly enjoyed. And I have a curveball question for you. It's not something I sent ahead. It's a really fun question. It gives the listeners a chance to learn a little bit about who you are. And there is no right or wrong answer either. So I imagine your answer tomorrow may change from what it is today. But are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. So you have just been hired as an A&R for Def Jam or Columbia Records. And they're giving you an unlimited budget where you can bring on any three artists and one producer or beat maker. Who are the artist and the beat maker that you would choose for this song?
Okay. Whew. Three artists and one producer or beat maker. Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm. Well, of course, it definitely depends on what mood I'm in, but
Exactly. Right. Right.
I would
That's why there's
probably
no right or wrong
say,
answer.
right. Um, okay, I would definitely choose my favorite artist. My favorite artist. Probably not everybody else's favorite artist, but Corinne Bailey Ray. That is
Okay.
my girl. I have
Hmm.
all of her albums. I love her music. That's
Hmm.
actually what when I'm doing like driving to Houston and driving to Oklahoma, that's what I put on and singing on the top of my lungs. So I would say her.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I would probably. Mm, mm, who else would? I would probably bring Cardi B. I bring Cardi
Okay.
to the
Okay.
party. I'd bring
Okay.
Cardi. I
Okay.
bring her.
This song is shaping up. Okay.
Yeah, I like Cardi B. And then I would probably, hmm, who would my third person be? See that Corinne Bailey Ray, I got Cardi. Let me bring. I don't know why Ti keep pulling up in my head, but I think I'll probably bring Ti. Because he's a
Legend.
comedian now too. So we'll rap and I'll get some laughs. So I'll do Ti.
Uh,
I'll do Ti.
have
I mean him.
you seen his stand up? I mean, his stand ups I've seen online didn't really hit the mark. But being a stand up comedian is a
No,
hard job.
so I haven't. It is so like I haven't
Oh.
seen any. I see the. I mean, I'm seeing the transformation. Like he done grew out his hair. All the old heads they got dreads now. And
Hello.
I heard that he's doing comedy. So if he's not, you ain't no old. We are not old heads. Hey, we are not old heads. We are not old heads. I will not claim that. Not yet, at least.
My bad.
but
Let me take back that hello then.
But I would say, yeah, I haven't seen his comedy, but I'll probably help him work on that then because not because we not doing that. So yeah, so Ti, Cardi B, and Corinne Bailey Ray. Those would be my three, and then producer. Um, I'll I'll probably okay. Do you know who I? Can I trade Ti?
Yeah, of
Can
course.
I trade Ti?
Uh-huh.
Have you heard of La Russell? You know who La Russell is? Okay, you got to look him up.
Okay.
Look up La Russell. He
Okay.
is
Okay.
a phenomenal rapper. My husband put me
Okay.
on to him. He is a
Okay.
phenomenal rapper. Phenomenal. Um, so I would bring La Russell, and I don't know the name of his producer, but I'd bring him with him.
Okay.
That would be my
Bet. All
third
right.
person. Yeah, that'll be, yeah, yeah. Yeah, my husband is into to producing, and he makes beats and stuff like that. And the way he talks to me and breaks it down, how the Russell's producer does things. I mean, like just like my husband, he's like all into it. So it's probably a tie between my husband and La Russell's producer, but I'll probably bring La Russell's producer just so he could teach my husband how he does what he does because he loves it.
Awesome. Awesome. And well, thank you so much for answering that question. I know it can be tough, especially put on the spot, and there's so many artists out there, and you have to just come down to three. But I appreciate you giving it a try. And I took a note on La
No
Russell, so
problem.
I'll go to YouTube and check out a couple of his
Yes.
songs, and maybe even do a little digging and find out who his producer is. Well,
Yes,
Stephanie,
yes,
this has
yes. I
been
don't know his name.
yeah, well, no worries. Well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on again and sharing what the life of a travel agent is. Thank you for teaching me something new about music, also. I guess in closing, I'll let everybody know they can find you at kttravelandmore.com. That's kttravelandmore.com. And where else can they find you on Instagram and other avenues?
Yes, so on Instagram and TikTok, it's KT Travel and More, ANDMORE. On Facebook,
Mhm.
/KT Travel and More LLC. Um, on LinkedIn, KT Travel and More LLC as well. Yeah, those are the main places you can find me.
Awesome. And is there anything you would like to leave us with before we go?
Well, I do definitely want to thank you, Brandon, for this opportunity. I think your podcast is absolutely amazing. I love what you're doing, giving people, giving other individuals an insight into what, your friends do for a living. I think it's an awesome opportunity, gives people the opportunity to, showcase what they do, day in and day out. We spend a lot of our time at work. So being able to share what we do is amazing. So definitely thank you so much for the platform.